he would step across the line. Habitually. He's a habitual line stepper.
You make me happy. Thank y'all for joining me on the Habitual Line Steppers podcast. I'm Garrett Charles Langley Henson.
And I am Terry Ricardo DeShazer II. We're back.
Y'all may have thought that we were done, but we're not done. We're not done.
Never.
Life did get in the way a little bit. Last time we talked to you guys, Nikola Jokic was still playing against the Minnesota Timberwolves. I think we had waited out the end of that Cavs-Orlando series. No, the Knicks-Cavs shit was about to start. There was so much excitement in the air. I thought the Knicks were going to go all the way to the conference finals. I thought the Nuggets were going to roll over the Timberwolves. And here we are, 2.5 weeks later, talking about the NBA Finals between the Boston Celtics and the Dallas Mavericks.
Yeah, man. The European takeover is here. I remember I texted you that yesterday, and you were like, what are you talking about? I was like,
right.
It's over, bro. Jokic, Giannis, Luka, back-to-back-to-back, dog? Well, Giannis choked. But
exactly what I keep trying to tell Knife.
But before we get crazy into it, don't forget, like, subscribe, comment, help us out, man. We're just trying to make it out here in America. Get a little bit of money talking sports. But let's get into it, bro. Finals. Celtics fucking Mavs, bro. What are your thoughts on this matchup, bro? This is kind of weird.
I got a lot of thoughts.
Before we get deep into it, I'm pro-America. Big time. I think you and I both are, to be honest. Mm-hmm. So I'm rooting Boston, but with the caveat, as I know Luka is the best player in here, and Kyrie's a close, 2A, because Tatum, I still don't really trust him that much. But what are your thoughts on this coming in, man? What are you looking to see?
Well, I'm just going to be honest out the gate. I am not rooting for Boston. It's got nothing to do with being American or any of that shit. I can't stand these motherfuckers. I haven't been able to stand them since Zaza Pachulia went nose to nose with Kevin Garnett 15 years ago.
Okay.
Something about that just didn't sit right with me. You're not going to bully a Croatian, dog. But
okay.
Looking into this series, man, my head is one way, my heart is the other. And hopefully over the course of this podcast, we'll be able to figure out what's what. The number one thing I'm looking at, dude, is Porzingis. My man hasn't played ball for 5 weeks since game 1 of the very first round. He hadn't had a stretch where he was out for a long time this season. The longest he ever missed is 2 weeks. Now, without rhythm, they're expecting this guy to come back into NBA Finals. We don't know if he's going to start. We don't know if he's going to play 25 minutes a game coming off the bench. We don't know if we're going to see Al Horford's creaky knees out there on the perimeter chasing Luka and Kyrie around for 38 minutes. We don't know. But I feel like he's a definite X factor in this series, and he's going to be important, man.
Yeah, I mean, it's all about matchups, right? Because Dallas doesn't have it. It would have been interesting if it was Jokic, but it's a committee of decently banged up Derek Lively because of the neck sprain, and they said it wasn't a concussion, but it kind of looked like a concussion. Gabbert, how do you say his name? Gafford?
Yeah, Gafford.
The other center that kind of starts and then backs up every now and then. He's a little banged up, and then Dwight Powell, we know he kind of sucks. He got some minutes because Lively was hurt. I'm just saying.
They can't quit Dwight Powell. They've been trying to quit his ass for 5 years.
I mean, he's kind of not garbage. If he's a starting center, garbage. But backup is okay. But besides that, they're not doing a whole lot on the offensive end besides catching lobs and shit. So it just depends on. I think Kristaps will be okay in this instance. I don't think he has to bang too much. I think his leg will be a little fresh. So I'm not worried too much about it. On the other end, though, he has 20 points. He's a bucket. He can shoot fucking threes like crazy. He's probably the best 3-point shooter on the team. But see, between him and Derek White, they're both pretty good at shooting threes.
And he takes the deep ones too. It's not just the Al Horford threes where it's is his toe on the line? It's no, he's bombing this shit from 28 feet.
He's got it. But
that's one thing I'm looking at. The teams all year, the Celtics have been dominant. and like number one team on offense, top 5 team on defense. But the Mavs, you know, and we talked about this right after the trade deadline. They're one of the teams I was looking at that was like, oh man, they could take a step up into another tier. Since that trade deadline, they finished 16-2 to close out the regular season. And like you mentioned, having Gafford and PJ Washington like completely changed their rotation, their identity. Now, like Josh Green and Derek Lively can play more physical and not worry about fouling out because they don't have like I don't have to rely on Tim Hardaway Jr. or your boy Dwight Powell to come in and play actual minutes.
Yeah, no, they don't play Hardaway hardly any minutes really.
I don't think he's going to play in this series. Like I don't know who he's going to guard, but both teams since the trade deadline, top 5 in offense and defense. One of the like concerns that I have for Boston though is that they kind of had a cakewalk up to this point, and like the Mavs. They had to take down the number 1, 2, and 3 seeds in the West, and we're in dogfights, like where they had to raise their level and make adjustments and, you know, develop some connectivity and suffer and all that type of stuff. And it's like Boston, they played the Miami Heat without Terry Rozier and Jimmy Butler. They played the Cavs without Jared Allen, and Donovan Mitchell didn't play 2 of the 5 games. Then they played the Pacers without Tyrese Halliburton, who only played 2 games in the Eastern Conference Finals. And they still had to come from behind 3 times to beat the Pacers.
Yeah.
So it's like I have serious questions about whether they're going to be like the same way that the Nuggets just kind of sleptwalked through the Lakers.
Yeah.
That game 1 versus the Timberwolves, I was like, they're about to lose this shit. Like they're not ready for this level of intensity.
Yeah.
That the Timberwolves are going to come out with. And I have that same feeling about Boston, where it's like they haven't been ramping up. They haven't been pushed all the way. They haven't like tasted their own blood in their mouth yet. And now you're going up against a team that's been throwing haymakers for 3 rounds.
No, I mean, it's a good point. Boston, the East in general kind of just collapsed. It kind of started off with Giannis not being able to play in the whole fucking entirety of the playoffs. So, I mean, we knew it was going to be a cakewalk after that. Shout out to the scrappy Knicks, but then they also got hurt. But yeah, man, game 1 is interesting, bro. But Boston, we've already seen this with Boston. Like they fall asleep at certain points. I can't say Dallas does the same thing, especially with the new team, like you said. You know, PJ Washington, he's stepping up, hitting open threes like at an insane rate. To be honest, Derek Jones playing well, good defense. But you know, at the end of the day, man, look. It's hard to say like with the Cavs teams and LeBron, right? Like, you know, we were saying the East is weak and the kind of underestimating the team and all that type of shit. But I think Boston is legitimately a good team. So, 1, you said, of course, Kristaps, we got to see, you know, how healthy he is. But 2, on the other side, there's 2 All-NBA guys on the squad. They got Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. They got to fucking step up. And I'm kind of sick of Tatum in the excuses. Jaylen Brown, he got his Eastern Conference MVP. I don't think there's like a rift between them. Like we've been talking about that shit for years, but Tatum's got to stop with the stupid shots. He's got to drive, man. He's got to do what he does best. Drive the ball. They both got to play some fucking defense and
especially in crunch time. Like, and that's my other concern with Boston is that they've been mediocre in the clutch all season long. They're playing against, you know, 2 of the best closers in the entire NBA. The Mavs were number 1 the whole regular season and after the trade deadline and in the playoffs in clutch rating. Like
easy points. They get easy shots, those 2 guys. Doncic and Kyrie, man. So
they haven't even been in clutch games. Like the times that they break down, you know what I mean, are in these clutch moments, and we haven't even got to see them. Only 4 of their 16 games in the playoffs have had clutch minutes. Like,
and what, like a couple of them were against the Pacers?
Exactly.
Like because they were falling asleep.
3 of the 4 were against the Pacers. Exactly.
Yeah. So who do you think should get the ball in these moments at the end? Like in an ideal award, of course you want Tatum to get it, but he seems to settle for the outside shot a bit too much for my liking. I know it's hard to drive and shit, but like set up post ups or something, give him something different.
But I really don't care. Like, I just want to see them run their actual offense. Like, they
run the offense and get a good shot.
You guys have the number 1 offense in NBA history, and you have like 5 players who can all dribble, pass, and shoot and score from the 3-point line. Like, why does it come down to crunch time? And now you're like, okay, it's ISO ball. I'm going to take a shot. Then Jaylen Brown, you can take a shot. Then I'm going to dribble around for 15 seconds. Then I'm going to take a shot. Now it's your turn,
Yeah.
Jaylen Brown. Like, reducing this beautiful orchestra of like offensive harmony and to just giving the ball to your best player, that's what I have a problem with. Like, if they actually run their sets and continue to get, like, they're going to get good looks in crunch time. But there's something about the mentality, especially of Tatum, where he has this thing that he has to prove that he's in, like, the top tier with all these other guys. And everyone has their give me the ball and get out of the way moments. And it seems like he just kind of thirsts for those moments a little too much. And I wish he would be a bit more decisive and aggressive in those moments and go to the hoop instead of settling for these off the dribble, step back threes and shit like that.
Contested bullshit, because honestly, I want to look at his fucking 3-point percentage in the playoffs. Like
I'd rather have a wide open three from Al Horford than a step back three from Jason Tatum.
If Al Horford's in the game at the end, I'm gonna fucking. I'm just being completely honest. Like, please don't be on the court. Dallas, play him off the court. I love him, but come on, bro. At a certain point, he's got to go. Like, LeBron should be the only person left, from like the 03 to 04, 05 drafts. Horford's been cooked.
Right. Joakim Noah's been out the league for 8 years.
Yeah. I mean, like, I love Horford, man, but this year, he's showing the signs. He's got to go. But, I mean, you're right, man. Some of it has to do with coaching, though. Like, just because the Celtics have the number one offense and, like, their defense is really good as well, they got good defensive players. They signed fucking Drew Holiday, and Kristaps can block shots, and Brown and Tatum, are good defenders, and Derek White's a great fucking defender. So it's like, anybody that's an NBA level coach could have coached this team, and they probably would have won 52 to 53, in up games. So it's not that. It's definitely at the end, like, I need different things. Like, if you're gonna do the ISO shit, at least put Tatum in like a different position. Like, I want to see him do a post up, and then maybe that leads to a double team.
Right.
And on him as well. Like, he has to be a bit more aggressive in certain spots. Like, I get wanting to get the ball, but you can always tell when somebody wants the fucking ball, but if they actually want to take a good shot or just getting it and then be like, oh, just chuck the shit just to chuck it. Like that.
Mm-hmm.
You don't really want to see that. I feel like I see that a lot of that from him. Like he'll be like, yeah, I want it, and then he just throws up some bullshit. Like, that doesn't mean you got the killer instinct. You have to actually want to do something that's going to help the team, and you don't always have to score. I feel like that's what him and Brown, they've been working on it, but like that's never going to be like their, like
defining trait.
Like like playmaking is just never really going to be something that they're great at or really, really good at. So like, it's going to take time. Like, they're still both young, but they're running out of time.
But to your point, it's like there are things you can do if you do want to do this isolation type of stuff to make life easier on you. You mentioned like catching deeper. You know what I mean? Posting up, getting your touches on the nail instead of like above the break. The other thing is whoever's guarding Luka, like bring their man in to become a screener so you can go one-on-one against Luka. You
gotta make Luka work.
Jason Tatum, don't bounce the air out of the ball and try to go one-on-one against PJ Washington. Bring Luka up here, get the switch, and then you can go against Luka.
Yeah,
but
I think
you need to have a little bit more complexity. You know what I mean? Instead of just like give the ball to the best player, he's going to create something for us. Make his life a little easier.
Not for sure. And I think that's kind of where Minnesota like fucked up. They didn't like defensively. Luka-wise, they didn't make Luka work like on the other end. No, they didn't do shit. They just let Luka guard whoever was in the corner, and he kind of just stuck around in the post, took a foot out, put his foot back in the post, took a foot out, kind of rotated a bit. Bad strategy, man.
He got the rest.
They'll figure it out. But yeah, you can't let an elite scorer. You can't let him completely rest on the other side the entire game. Like, it was the entire game. They just let him do whatever he wanted to do, which is nothing.
Especially considering he was like had some flu type of shit. He had like a foot injury.
He had the knee.
He wasn't 100%. It's like you should be trying to make him guard every single possession. Bring Luka up. Like, I want to see him guard for 24 seconds. They didn't do any of that. I am interested in some of these matchups and who's guarding who, though. I feel like one of the fireworks for me is going to be Kyrie against Derek White.
Yo, look, I got to give you a little bit of credit. Kyrie was playing a little better defense than I've ever seen him play. All right, you get
Come on, big dog. Come on, big dog.
Slight credit because he's still been pretty shit, until about right now. So I'll give you slight credit. But
I knew he had it in him. The question of doing it every night probably not going to happen.
Yeah. But I mean, you're right, bro. That the Derek White Kyrie is going to be. It's going to be interesting seeing that because I think for sure they're going to try to post up Drew Holiday if they get, if they start off with like Kyrie and Drew Holiday. That'll definitely be like some post up situations. Drew's going to have to take advantage of it.
I think they're going to put Luka on Drew.
Luka on Drew? I think that's the smart thing to do.
Yeah,
that's the smart thing to do.
Because it's like Drew Holiday, he wants to kind of burrow his way into the paint with his little half spins and his flip shots and his little post moves and everything like that. You're not going to move Luka.
No, he's way smaller than him. He's strong as shit, but he's way smaller than Luka.
And if you want to run your offense through a diet of Drew Holiday posting up Luka, like the Mavs would be like, go ahead and do this every possession and get completely out of your flow. Like, we'll be happy to let you spam these post ups.
I don't see that happening because I mean Drew Holiday's 6'4". He's strong though, but he's short as shit. If they get switches with Kyrie on him, like it's just up to them and what they want to do. Like we're probably gonna see like some picks where Drew sets a pick for Derek White, or maybe Tatum Drew type of pick and roll or Brown Drew, because they definitely want to make Luka. If you want to win, you got to make him do something. Like I love Kyrie, but he's not going to be able to do it, for as long as Luka can because Luka's like way younger than him. So,
but Derek White and Kyrie, like you mentioned, Kyrie the playoff stopper. You know what I mean? I do think after seeing how he performed against Anthony Edwards, like he's going to be
defense.
Yeah, he's going to be charged up to play against Derek White. But the thing is, like, one thing about Derek White is he's consistent.
Yeah.
You always know what you're going to get with him, and he's solid, and he plays it in himself. Like, what do you have, 6 assists to 1 turnover this season? Like,
yeah, something like that.
Whereas Kyrie,
you said he was an all-star player this year.
I did. I thought he was the second best player on the team. And then you look on the other side, Kyrie. It's like, what Kyrie are we getting? Are we getting the guy who showed up against Minnesota and scored, 27 points a game? Or are we getting the guy from the OKC series who stood around, did a lot of nothing, and averaged 16? Like, they can't have Kyrie be a 16-point-a-game scorer and have any chance in these NBA
So you think in order to win, he has to be, like, more on the 25, 24 a game? He's got to cook.
It's like what you said when we opened up this whole discussion. You're like, the Mavs have the best player, and they probably have the second best player. We're talking about Kyrie versus Tatum and all these, just in terms of like playoff gravitas and experience.
Yeah.
Like, you got to be that guy. You cannot be a periphery 16. We can get 16 a game from Tim Hardaway, right?
Yeah.
We don't need 16 a game. We need 25 plus, and that's not going to be easy with Derek White all on you.
I think it's going to be a tough fucking series for him though, man. Like,
yeah,
Boston might live with him trying to do things, one-on-one. But like you said though, he's going to be more like the Minnesota, but then you got to think too, like he wasn't doing it, for all 4 quarters. They would let him do it for like maybe a quarter or two just to kind of feel it out, see how it goes. But any combo in the league, this is probably the toughest matchup he's going to get, man. Offense always beats defense. It doesn't really matter, how old the motherfucking scorer is or whatever. Like, they're always, like, it could be prime Kawhi versus a 38-year-old LeBron. Like, he's still going to get fucking points. But it's going to be tough, man. Drew Holiday and Derek White on him, like, for 48 fucking minutes, dude. That's tough as shit, bro.
Yeah.
I love Kyrie, but that's
got a tough matchup, man. Tough. He's got a tough fucking matchup.
That's a tough one. And then Luka's got a tough one too, man.
Yeah. So let's talk about it, man. Who do you think is guarding Luka? Who starts on
Tatum?
him?
Probably Tatum. Like, I fucking love Jaylen Brown, man. But he's not as tall as Tatum. He's not as strong as Tatum. He's not as wide or big as he is. Pause. But like, Tatum's a better defender. I think Tatum starts off on him, bro. And they kind of just go from there, see how it goes. Because, like, even from watching some of the Dallas Boston games, like, Drew is tough as fuck on him, but he still kind of it's pretty easy for him to score. Derek White makes it tough, but it's pretty easy for him to score. They do delay doubles and shit like that, but just to answer the question straight up, Tatum's gonna start, and whoever gets switched on him, it'll be tough for him to score. But he's Luka, so he's gonna do what he wants.
Right. I mean, there's no weak links, but if you watch the games that they played already this season, Brown was the one who started off on Luka. But I agree. I think Tatum will end up being their best option. One of the things I'm looking at, though, with Brown or Tatum is like the cross matching. So we already talked about we think Luka is going to be on Drew. Well, Drew's not guarding Luka. It's going to be Tatum or Brown. So when these cross matches kind of get exposed is in transition. You know what I mean? Like, Tatum is D'ing up Luka. You get a stop, immediately push it and run, and now Luka has to like either check Tatum because you're the closest player, or everyone has to scramble around to try to find their matchups, and somebody gets lost, and you get a 3 in transition. Like, I feel like, especially with Jaylen Brown, when Jaylen Brown is guarding him, that's going to be key because Jaylen Brown is a one-man fast break. It doesn't matter if there are 3 people in front of him. And if he can get a stop on Luka and then run immediately and make Luka chase you into open court, that's going to be like a major weapon the Celtics can use.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, man, I think it's tough, bro, because Boston is 2 ways it can go, bro. Like, if Tatum doesn't step up, hopefully, bro. I don't even know how it's going to go. I think Boston's going to win it. Just because they have, even though Luka's the best player, I'm not sure if I trust Derek Jones, PJ Washington, and Gafford, and likely, because they had the most, alley-oops. They had like fucking 50 alley-oops throughout the playoffs.
Yeah, way more than anyone else.
Quadrupled it. Yeah, they like quadrupled everybody else, but like Boston's defense is fucking, they're all over it, bro. The rotations are crisp. Every single dude except for Kristaps is like a great on-ball defender. So it's... Yeah.
Well, I will say, I feel like that center position for the Celtics, it's a bit creaky. And that's like one of the big things that I'm watching to see how it plays out early in the series. Because Al Horford, we saw him getting roasted by the Pacers every time he came out to the level. The Pacers shot like 78% at the rim or something like that in their series. And they were just bringing Al Horford out and breezing right past them. And so now the guy backing him up or starting in front of him is Porzingis, who's, never been accused to be an elite switch defender at 7'3". And, is coming off an injury that we don't know what his mobility is going to be like, everything like that. I feel like Lively and Gafford have a big advantage in like the open court and these high pick and rolls where you can dive to the rim. And if Al Horford's sitting in drop or Porzingis is sitting in drop, like Luka's going to be able to stop and take that 10-footer. Like he's going to make runners nonstop. He's going to put you in trouble and put you on his hip and kind of let you ride him all the way down and get 2-point shots that may turn into fouls and ones.
Yeah.
I feel like Porzingis is going to be really key in this because if he hits threes and they're like having to abandon their defensive scheme and they have to put maybe Maxi Kleber out there to hang with one of these guys on the perimeter, that
and he's still coming off the shoulder injury. Yeah.
That changes the complexion of the series. If you can't have Lively and Gafford be like these driving forces that punish other teams, if we're having to match like your spacing and have some fleeter foot guys and play Maxi Kleber at the 5, that changes the geometry of the court for the Mavs defensively. And I feel like Porzingis and Horford hitting those threes is going to be key to do it because they're going to let him, the first couple games, they're going to let him bomb away and be like, hey, if we lose because their centers combined to make 9 threes, like, we'll lose. But eventually, you can't do that forever. And I think
Kristaps that.
Yeah, well,
I'll just say this straight out before you keep going. If Kristaps is hitting threes, Dallas is getting blown out. It's fucking done. It's over.
It's definitely like the biggest inflection point that I see, where it's like this is the thing that's going to mess up your defensive scheme.
Yeah,
go
ahead.
The other
thing is like Dallas. So like it's kind of predicated on the alley-oops. That's like one of their main things in their offense. They only get that is because like Luka and Kyrie kind of blow by defenders and shit. They're not going to be doing that shit against all four of the dudes on Boston. Like the weakest link perimeter wise defensively is Jaylen Brown. Like if that's your fucking weakest link, you're not about to get like a bunch of easy ass lobs. Like that shit's just not happening. They're not falling asleep like that. And honestly, Jaylen Brown is the shittiest, from what I've seen, rotation defender. Just from watching them play against like Denver and like watching them play against teams where they kind of tried to put Jaylen Brown on like the 4 guy or like the the 3 in the corner. He's really bad at that. But like if you put him, and I understand now, I kind of get why they put Brown like on Doncic when they played against them. It's because he's kind of really bad on like the back end of like the defense.
Yeah.
So
he's not a rover.
No, it's good. Like if Dallas wins this shit, I'll crown Luka the best player in the league. I can't give it to him just because Jokic lost him. Minnesota's a tough matchup for them. We knew that watching it last year, like when Denver lost.
Especially when nobody else on the team is going to step up, and Michael Porter Jr. is going to be invisible, and KCP is going to be invisible, and Jamal Murray is going to be invisible.
And hurt as fuck. But like, yeah, man, if Dallas wins this shit, I got to give it to Luka. This is gonna be a tough ass fucking matchup for them, bro. Straight up, I don't see them winning this in my eyes.
Let's talk about the matchup of the stars, because a lot has been made. Reggie Miller brought up during the broadcast. Is this the best backcourt of all time with Luka and Kyrie?
Most talented or whatever.
I think most talented for sure, but he was saying the best. If you look at the numbers, man, like Luka and Kyrie have combined for 52 points and 14 assists per game in the playoffs. Tatum and Brown have combined for 51 points and 9 assists in the playoffs. So only like 1 point difference in scoring.
Are they a backcourt though?
No, they're not. But I'm just saying, like, everybody talks about Luka and Kyrie like this dynamite scoring duo that you can't contain, and Tatum and Brown as these two lackeys that don't fit together. But if you look at the stats, it's like they're actually performing on the same level if you just isolate the two best players.
Yeah. No, they are. I think Tatum and Brown are. I think they're a better duo
because they're two-way.
It's way more of a two-way. And bro, like I remember when I said this. Shit, I might have said this in like 2020, maybe during the pandemic when we were talking about it. Tatum and Brown. Yeah, I'm not gonna be surprised. Like when Tatum gets his bag, like. These dudes are going to be on the top of like a bunch of playoff records because they've been going to the playoffs since Tatum's rookie year.
Hey, what is this, 8 years now?
I believe so. Let me look. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is the 7th year.
Okay.
This is the 7th year they've been in the playoffs, and they've been doing it since 2017. Literally every single year since 2017. So like this shit. They're a fucking fantastic duo. I love Kyrie. Like I said, he played great defense versus Minnesota, but I really haven't seen him do that in a long ass fucking time. I mean, they even missed the playoffs last year. And like I know they threw one game. They weren't doing it the entire
exactly
of like the back end of the season.
They gave it a good old college try, and they're like, all right, this shit's not working. Let's tank and get the number 10 pick for Derek.
Yeah. But like you're right. If it's Tatum versus Luka, look, there's nothing I can say, bro. Luka's better than them. He is. If we can do the whole duo thing, you can kind of go back and forth with that. But Luka's the best player in this fucking series, and I'll cut him slack. It's his first appearance and all that type of shit. Is he the number 1 scorer playoff wise, or did he drop down?
I think he is.
Points per game average.
He dropped down from 33 a game to 28.5 or 29, but that's to be expected. In the postseason, nobody gets their same regular season numbers. But I agree with you. I think Luka is the best player on the court, but it just kind of the way that we talk about these duos sometimes, I feel like we're putting Luka and Kyrie, or a lot of people are, in like a way different stratosphere than Tatum and Brown. And I just wanted to point out, like, if you just look at the numbers, it's like they're actually in the exact same stratosphere.
People just love the way that they score. They love that tween between the legs, spin move, fucking step back threes, and the shit's cute. The shit is cute as fuck.
Don't see a lot of Luka builds on 2K. I will say that. see a lot of fake Kyries. Don't see a lot of my player Lukas with 68 speed.
Hey, look, to be completely honest with you too, just from playing 2K, like, because I don't do like the, what do they call it? Like when they got the cards and shit, and you're pulling
Oh
cards.
yeah,
And,
yeah, yeah. The my team shit. I don't do that.
yeah, I don't do the my team, but just from playing online and playing against teams, honestly, I'd probably up against Dallas, and I've played a lot of fucking games throughout like the past 5 years. I probably played against Dallas less than 20 times out of thousands of games. Like nobody wants to be him. Shout out to him. Everybody loves Kyrie though. Kyrie's the guy.
Yeah.
But he's 30, 31, 32?
I think he's older than that. I think
Yeah,
he's 33 or 34.
It's good, bro. It's going to be a tough one, dog. That's all I'm going to say. It's going to be tough as fuck.
Let's talk about some of the keys to victory, right? Let's start off with the Boston Celtics. What they have to do to win this series. We talked about the first one a little bit, so I'll just kind of glide by that one, which was bringing Luka up and making him guard. Like whoever he's defending, bring him up as a screener, try to get the switch. Don't let him just chill on defense like you mentioned that he was doing in the Western Conference Finals. Make him blitz, make him hedge, make him switch onto their star wings and guard and get after him nonstop. We talked about the cross matches in transition. We talked about the bigs making threes. Another thing that we touched on briefly, but I want to get into a little bit more, is not settling for 45 threes a game. You know, like over the course of the regular season.
You talking about Dallas or Boston?
Boston.
Okay.
Boston.
That's their offense, though.
I know, but over the course of the regular season, like the numbers play out over time because there's a big enough sample size. You're like playing this way is more efficient over a 6-month stretch. We're talking about maybe 7 games max. And no shot is like more higher variance on a game-to-game basis than 3-point jumpers. And we've just talked a bit about, like, especially in crunch time, the Celtics kind of devolve into this off-the-dribble 3-point shooting team. And I feel like in order to get those threes that they want, it needs to start with attacking the basket first. And if they're bigs, like we mentioned, like Horford and Porzingis, if they can pull Lively away from the hoop and they can pull Gafford away from the hoop, and now we have wide open driving lanes for, basically the other 4 ball handlers on the Celtics. Now, when you drive and collapse, you're getting wide open kick out threes. But you got to put the pressure on the rim first instead of just trying to jack the threes off the dribble.
Yeah, man. And hopefully they figure. I mean, I think that's pretty much kind of how they do it. They just drive and kick. That's mostly their offense with a little bit of motion, type of thing. But just give me a little bit more variation, man. But we'll see. I mean, like, I, in no shape, way, or form, see Dallas kind of countering the drive because, with all due respect to Doncic and Kyrie, I think it's going to be a fucking highway to the rim, bro. It's going to be a highway to the rim, and they'll be kicking it out. They're going to be shooting those threes, bro. As much as you don't want to see it, it's going to be happening. They're going to shoot 40 to 50 a game. That's just, Brad Stevens and them, they talked about it, and that's just what they got.
But you got to feel out
the perfect 2K offense.
You got to feel out the game, dude. Like, you can't be like the Houston Rockets and miss 27 threes in a row, and it costs you the game because you never even attempt to get to the basket. Like, at some point, the momentum swings in games, and you got to realize, like, we don't have the touch from distance this game. We got to work to get easier shots. And that's all I'm talking about. It's not just being so married to this philosophy that you're like, when everything isn't going right, we're going to stick to what we've done the whole regular season. It's not the regular season, and you're going to have to adjust game to game.
No, I don't know. We'll see how it goes, man. They're definitely not the best at adjustments, so
no, they're not.
It's their game, man. I really don't see them changing. They're never going to change. As much as I would like for them to do it, they're going to chuck them shits, man.
Dude, mix in the post-ups for Tatum that we talked about.
Hopefully.
Mix in, like, bringing Luka up there. You know what I mean? Mix in the double drags and the double screens to create some confusion. Like, it doesn't have to just be Sam Hauser launching 10 times a game.
Mm-hmm. I think we're gonna see that against Derrick Jones a lot. Because PJ Washington kind of showed that he's, like, a really good defender, like, perimeter-wise and kind of post. He's a decently sized dude. Shout out to Charlotte for not doing shit with them. LaMelo, you got a point in that as well, just being hurt all the fucking time. But yeah, man, I don't know. Dallas is in trouble, bro.
But we're talking about like all this minutia. Let's talk about the most important thing for Boston. Jason Tatum has to be a fucking star.
Do you think he's got to be the guy?
Dude, he's shooting 44% from the field and 29% from three.
His three
in the playoffs.
His 3-point percentage is horrible. He shoots too many threes.
Lest us
and
forget
bad ones.
The last time we saw him in the NBA Finals,
trash.
He was terrible. He shot 36% from the field against the Warriors. From the field. And in the closeout game, game 6, 13 points on 18 shots with 5 turnovers. Like, he cannot repeat this type of performance. He has a monkey on his back, and he's got to get it off. And if Jason Tatum isn't the second best player on the court, they're not going to win. He cannot be the 36% from the field guy and then win the NBA Finals. He has got to be the MVP candidate that people were putting on ballots.
He's not going to play that bad. But legitimately, and I know you hate excuses of any sort, he had a legitimate right shoulder fucking labrum like type of injury to his shoulder. So at that point, it was cooked. It was cooked. Like, it was done. Like, what did we expect? You got crusty shoulders. You know how hard it is to shoot with your shoulders being all crusted up with like a bunch of cartilage in it. Like, it's almost impossible. So for that one, I don't blame him. He looks like he's completely healthy now.
So I go to the hoop. I don't keep shooting threes with my crusty shoulders, Terry.
No, that's facts. That's facts. No, they definitely didn't mix shit up. But this postseason, most of the guys look completely healthy. Of course, no one's going to be 100%, but it looks like they're fine. Except for Porzingis, we'll have to see what he's like. But
if Kyrie is better than Tatum, the Celtics are going to be digging themselves out of a hole. He's got to be second behind Luka.
I'm gonna take 4 versus 2, man. I think the combination of Tatum, Brown, Porzingis, Drew Holiday, and then your most important guy, honestly, Derek White. I mean, Derek White has been great throughout this entirety of the playoffs. Like,
he's a ball.
I lean more on your side with he's not the second best player. I still think it's Brown. Like,
but he might be the second most important.
He might be the most important. Well, I think Kristaps is the most important. To be honest, to be completely honest, he's probably the most important. When he plays well, they win. When he plays bad, they fucking lose. Like, I think their record when he scores 20 was like
insane.
50. Yeah, it was like 50-7 or something. Like, when I looked it up, I don't know if I can find that stat again because I saw it on Twitter or Instagram like a couple times. But it's unreal, bro. If he's gonna cook, it's done. But I can see a world if Tatum plays bad, they still win the series just because of how they play. Like, if they're going to continue to play the same style that they play with just kind of shooting threes and with great defense and still kind of getting good looks if they stop Dallas on the other end and get fast break points, I can see where Tatum was chilling in the Pacers series. That's why he didn't win player of the.
Yeah, that's why they were down.
It was close though.
That's why they were down in 3 of those 4 games. And if Tyrese Halliburton doesn't dribble the ball off his foot and then throw the ball out of bounds in 2 of these games, they win.
They swept them, bro.
Yeah, but these are unforced errors. Like,
shit happens.
This shit was Tyrese Halliburton just melted down like a fucking ice cream cone in a summer parking lot.
He's on the USA team too. Shout out to the 65 game shit. They made him play like shit. He's hurt as fuck and he still had to play. Hey, it is what it is.
Yeah, I didn't see him being hurt as fuck while he dribbled off his foot at midcourt with the game on the line with you about to take the last shot.
I know we hate it, but
yeah,
you could tell it was a different him from the point.
What was his injury? That his toes grew to become 5 feet long?
I don't know, man. His knees. He didn't look the same. The beginning. He was getting like 24, 14 with like 1 turnover a game, and then he gets hurt and he fucking can't shoot threes all of a sudden. He was shooting like 20% from 3.
He made it back though. By the end of the season, he got his rhythm again.
He looked a little better. I didn't love it because Brunson, who didn't make the U.S. Olympic team, was cooking his ass. But look, it's different basketball. We don't have to talk about that. But we'll see how it goes, man. This is It's gonna be interesting, man.
So
Summer's gonna be interesting. It's just gonna be interesting, bro. I don't know what's gonna happen. I think
those are
Boston wins.
those are my keys to Celtics winning. The keys to the Mavericks winning. I think it starts number one with rebounding. Gang rebounding. The Celtics allow 8.3 second chance points per game in the playoffs.
That's probably first.
First in the last 8 years, Terry.
Yeah.
No one's been better at denying second chance points than them.
I mean, yeah. If you've ever put any money on Boston, that's definitely something you look at. You're like, oh my God, in the possession. Jesus Christ. Tatum, where you at?
And it's like, dude, they got excellent rebounding guards in White and Holiday. But the thing is, on the other side, Gafford and Lively are excellent offensive rebounders. And this is kind of like a strength against strength type of thing. They were fourth in the NBA in offensive rebounding percentage. Like, they have got to get in there and get second chance points. A lot of these, like, Mavs victories that we saw, in crunch time, it was like, oh, Lively gets a big rebound, kicks it out to PJ Washington in the corner, splash sets a three. It's a momentum play that changes the game of the series.
It happened a lot versus Minnesota,
Yeah, they've got to get on these boards and get these offensive rebounds and beat up Horford and beat up Porzingis. Because if the Celtics allow them, or if the Celtics force them to not have any extra possessions, like, that doesn't play into the Mavs' hands, and they're going to need those extra chances to score against an excellent defense.
Yeah. I think that's the only weakness, too. That'll probably, show its head somewhat in this series. But, like, I love, for as good as Porzingis is offensively, and he blocked shots, but him kind of going for the block shots and then on the back end. Brown, like I said, Brown is probably one of the worst his rebounding and his defense in general is pretty bad, like off ball. He's so bad at the weak side rebound when Porzingis goes for the block. And like Boston works so fucking hard on defense. Like, I feel like they kind of give away too many points because of that. Like, they don't have any energy to like try to go crash the boards at all. So it's a give and take, man. But we'll see. If PJ's got to show me he's going to hit threes again.
Well, that's the other thing I had on here. I had
and Derek Jones.
PJ Washington must continue to be Caleb Martin 2.0 from last year. Like,
and one person from their bench has to step up.
Yeah. Dude, you're reading off my bullet points here, Terry. That's right underneath it, that the bench has to contribute. Josh Green, Daniel Gafford, Jaden Hardy, Maxi Kleba, Dante Exum to some degree. I'm not going to put Tim Hardaway Jr. in here because I think he's going to be guarded by the bench.
All of them couldn't make a three to save their life. But they didn't need it necessarily versus Minnesota, but
I don't know. I thought Jaden Hardy showed me some stuff. I like what Josh Green was doing in the short roll. Josh Green just has to fucking shoot. Like, when you're wide open, shoot that shit. But
he lost his confidence because he stopped playing as much. But, you got to work through it.
Unit, they got to outperform, Peyton Pritchard, Sam Hauser, O'Shea Brissett, Luke Cornett. And I feel like they have the talent to do it. But it's like the Mavs are going to have They're going to have to lean on some of these bench guys a little bit more than Boston.
And that's the thing that, you kind of, maybe I haven't really heard it on some of the podcasts I listen to, but like the way that Dallas plays, it's almost like if Kyrie and Luka are off the court for whatever small amount of times.
That should never happen. That should never happen in the NBA Finals. You should never be without one of those two.
Yeah,
ever.
Yeah, because they're so like reliant on them. When you notice when they don't have the ball, when one of them is on the court, you notice when one is off the court. Like, it's very fucking glaring.
But that's the point of having two great ball handlers. So you never have to go a stretch without somebody who can get you a great
Mike
shot.
D'Antoni. Yeah, the whole Mike D'Antoni thing. But yeah, we'll see, man. It's going to be tough for Kyrie by himself in some moments of this series.
Another thing I'm looking at, corner threes. Celtics, number one in the NBA in defending corner threes. They have allowed the fewest corner threes in the playoffs, and teams are only shooting 24% from the corners against them in this postseason.
That's insane.
Meanwhile, the Mavs, number one in corner threes by a gigantic margin. PJ Washington, number one in the whole postseason in corner threes made. Derek Jones Jr., number 2 in the entire postseason in corner threes made. Like, this is something the Celtics have been proactive about trying to eliminate from other teams' shot diet. And they'll say, we're not going to give up these corner threes. If we give up threes, they're all going to be above the break. We know this is a kick-out pass that Luka is extremely comfortable with and a big part of their offense. And I feel like the tail of the corner three is going to help decide this series. And I would not bet personally that the Mavericks shoot 24% from them like all the other teams did this postseason.
Nah, probably not.
Now, it's probably not 40% plus where they have been this postseason, but if they can make 35% or above from those shots, that's going to be a big arrow in their quiver, so to speak, playing against them.
I think the counter on that side is like kind of if you watch some of the games that they play against them, because Luka's great at the fucking like super late kick out.
Yeah.
Boston stays home on a lot of that shit, man. That's a really big reason why. Like, because their guys are so good at one-on-one defense, they don't need to like guys aren't getting blown by, so they don't need to like double and miss a rotation. So it's tough, man. It's a chess match.
It is.
I think Boston's going to get this one, man. I think Tatum and Brown are going to get their one, bro.
I'm with you. Other keys to the Mavs having a chance in this, making the Celtic centers come up to the level of the screen and not sit back and protect the paint.
The drop, yeah.
Like if Luka and Kyrie can just start becoming fireballs from three, and Drew Holiday or Derek White can't get around these screens quick enough, Horford and Porzingis are going to have to step up all the way. And now it's alley-oop city and time to cut to the basket and everything is open. But I think that's going to be key for them is you got to pull these bigs out of the paint and not just let Horford and Porzingis stay and drop and protect the rim. Because you mentioned they don't do a whole lot of rotating. They're happy to switch between a lot of their defenders. They shut off the water on the corner threes and stay home, like you said. But one way to get them away from staying home is forcing them to bring a second player up to that level.
Yeah, and we'll see how it goes. But like when you watch them, the only time they usually kind of do the more like drop or hedge type shit, but don't switch completely, is just the Derek White Porzingis pick and rolls. But usually Derek White's not guarding, unless it depends on the team. But like usually he's not guarding like the main fucking guy running pick and rolls like 2, 3, 4 times in a possession. So it just depends, man. They got it figured out. They figured this 5-man rotation they got. And, even with Porzingis out, like Horford knows how to step in and do, exactly kind of what Porzingis does. Like they kind of got it figured out, man. It's going to be interesting.
You think that until Luka turns Porzingis into barbecued Zubac.
I think, honestly, bro, I think they're just going to live with Luka getting about 37 to 40 a night. And the other guys aren't going to score shit. Like PJ Washington might not even get to double digits in a lot of this series. It's going to be tough.
It's going to be crucial for them, man, for the other guys. Yeah. And then the last thing is keep it close and show up in crunch time.
Oh, the clutch moments, it'll be over.
We talked about it a whole bunch that the Celtics haven't had a lot of clutch moments. Number one, because they're blowing teams out and are always up 15 points going into the fourth quarter. Yeah. But when they have, they faltered a bit and looked a bit off their rhythm. If the Mavs can just avoid a blowout and keep it a fucking 7-point game going into the last 5 minutes, they got the best net rating in clutch scenarios. They got 2 of the best closers on planet Earth. You would think if they keep,
both of them,
if all things are even going down to those last 4 minutes of the game, I would think the Mavericks, that would be a spot they want to be in. And I would kind of favor them in those scenarios. But Terry, let's get to it. You mentioned it a couple times, what your pick is and why. Give me a prediction for the NBA Finals.
Hey, man, if it was 1996, I'd go with Dallas and how they kind of play, but it's 2024, baby. We're going Boston in 5.
What?
Boston in 5?
In 5?
They've been blowing them out. They've been blowing Dallas out for 4 years. I know it's regular season basketball, but
it's a much different team since the trade. Shout out to BJ.
They played them in March. They beat them by 27 points.
Yeah, but that was before the trade.
PJ Washington was on the team.
But he didn't play. I looked it up before.
No, he played. I saw it. Unless I'm tripping.
I swear I looked it up yesterday when I did my prep that they hadn't played in that last matchup in
I'll
March.
check it, but I'm still saying Boston in 5.
Boston in 5. Well, that's an aggressive one. I'll definitely give you that. I'm definitely not picking either team in 5. I feel like this is going to be a long series. I mentioned my concerns. I don't know about the refs, but Luka's going to whine. He's going to do everything he can to try to get some extra calls, get somebody ejected, all that shit. He's got to be careful though with all that complaining. Make sure you don't get a tech yourself. But with Boston not being tested, I think they're going to drop game 1. I don't think they're going to be ready for that level of intensity. And then for your playoff prediction to come to fruition, they'd have to win the next 4. I don't see that happen personally. I'm just going to be honest. I can't bring myself to pick the Celtics.
Do it.
I despise them.
You don't like the coaching?
My head tells me that they have an advantage in this series, but my heart tells me that there is something fundamentally wrong about this pairing of Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown.
Wow, that's interesting. With all the success, huh?
Yep. I think there are levels to this, though. And at the very highest level, I don't think either one of them is the best player on a championship team. And I do think that their skill sets are redundant to some degree. Especially in crunch time, I feel like we're going to see that get exposed a bit against 2 of the best closers. Luka is going to be incandescent and is going to be the best player on the floor by far. They're going to win the championship in 7 games, and Hawks fans will be left spending the entire summer wondering what could have been.
All right, man. 7 games, Dallas. Good on Luka. Luka, man. Let's get those talks going. You already got the stats. This is all you need, man.
If he wins the championship and gets Finals MVP, he'll be the first player since Shaq in 2000 to win the scoring title and Finals MVP.
And the Finals, yeah. It's a team game, bro. It's the ultimate team game. They've got a really, really good team around them this time, bro. I think
best squad yet.
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting watching them next year. Hopefully everybody stays relatively healthy throughout the season, but they're going to have a really good record next year too. They got a good team, and they seem to genuinely like each other. Getting rid of Grant Williams. Shout out to you. Isn't
that funny how
on paper he looked like he was going to be perfect to go to Dallas, shooting threes in the corner,
that locker room shit, defense. Man. He just rubs everyone the wrong way. And isn't it a little funny that Boston gets rid of Grant Williams, and the next year they go to the finals? And then in the same season, the Mavs get rid of Grant Williams and they go to the finals.
Hey, man, it is what it is, man. But I'm looking at the March game. Yeah, PJ, he played. He played pretty well. He scored 17 points.
Did Gafford play too?
Gafford played 6 minutes in that game.
Okay. Maybe that was why.
And because it looks like Lively played. He played pretty well. 15 points, 7 for 7. I'm sure all of them are dunks.
What date was that? Was that after March 7th or before?
It's March 1st, bro.
Okay, there we go. So March 7th is when they really got the starting lineup together. And
the point, because it looks like Josh Green started this game. Who's the person? Oh, Derek Jones starts now, yeah. So, Derek Jones played 7 minutes in that game. It's length and defense.
March 7th is when they kind of figured out their rotation.
Started clicking.
Exactly. And then from then, went 16-2.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a battle, man. Thursday night. I remember
watching this game. Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, you do? You remember watching it?
I remember watching this game.
I don't think I watched that one.
I started watching from the third quarter on, and at that point, it was still kind of close. But at the end of the third, I think they were up maybe 12, and then the fourth quarter they started blowing them out, and it was kind of over. Mm-hmm. But it's interesting. It's just they're interesting, bro. I've watched Luka Luka cooks the fuck out of them, but the other guys really weren't efficiently doing anything.
Listen, Kyrie Irving, you cannot sign for the Celtics and take the microphone and stand at center court and be like, I'll be back if you guys will have me, and then come back a year later and flick off all the fans as a Brooklyn Net.
Spit on the fucking center court logo.
Yeah, and then come out here and lay an egg. You've brewed way too much animosity and have too much on the line to come out here and be Mr. 16 points a game like he was against OKC. Kyrie, you have got to be that guy. And to be
Tough,
honest,
man.
I've done a lot of Kyrie hating.
Yeah.
You
He
know,
deserves something.
I've also been his biggest defender at times, especially on the defensive end of the court.
Yeah.
But you want all the smoke, you got it, bud. Let's see what you
Yeah.
do with it.
Just hit some threes, man. But I just don't see it this time. But, you know, Boston's another year of the finals, you know, more experience. Of course, they still give us headaches, but
Yeah. I will say
they got a good team. Go ahead.
that's something that we didn't really talk about, is that Boston has kind of been through the traditional path of what it takes to win a championship, you know, of like hitting those roadblocks and learning to push through them as pretty much the same core. Whereas Dallas, they made it to the conference finals where they got smoked by the fucking Warriors
2 years ago, yeah.
That was a very different team. And now Dallas, this is a better team. You know, we both agree they have better role players around them and people to supplement Luka, and they have Kyrie now. But you got to kind of go through those bumps and go through failure and not achieve at the highest level usually before you just go from being in the lottery to winning a championship a year later.
Usually, but we'll see if he's one of those generational guys. But it does look like what the Bucks in 21 kind of went through that. 22, the Warriors, we already know.
Well,
And
remember
then-
the Bucks? It's like they couldn't get through the Raptors and they couldn't get through the Heat, and they were building the wall. And Giannis, everyone was counting how long he took to shoot his free throws.
Yep. Nah, I mean the last couple, I would say besides the Lakers, the last 6 champions, it's kind of been like a journey, you know. So,
and that's how it usually is.
Yeah, for the most part, man. You know, unless if it's the generational guys like LeBron, you know, he did the 2020 Lakers. They kind of just threw that team together, did their shit. The Warriors somewhat.
COVID year, that shit was weird. Like, they're not undeserving. It counts the same as any of the other championships.
They had a great team,
but there's no denying that shit was a little bit weird.
It was weird, but they had a great team, COVID or not. But like it's, you know, if Luka's going to be a generational dude, he'll win this. He's, you know, he'll still be a generational guy if they win or don't. But this will definitely like
put
skyrocket him.
Different echelon.
Kind of what we were hoping for Jokic this year, but you know, shout out to Minnesota. They did what I thought everyone should do: have 3 legitimate big guys that can guard Jokic. But you know, who am I? I'm just a fucking guy, just sitting in my fucking house.
You talked about it the whole season long, man. They're the only team that loaded up.
Pretty self-explanatory, bro.
At the same time, you know, we never know what might have happened if a single other player besides Christian Brown decided to show up for that series.
Hey, look, that's the thing about all professional sports, besides soccer. Soccer's kind of crazy with the money. Shout out Man City's probably going to be fucked for the next 5 to 10 years. But the cap, man, it makes it tough. Like, you saw Denver really needed Bruce Brown.
Yeah.
Or anything. Like, shout out to Peyton Watson. You know, he had flashes.
Even Jeff Green.
Yeah, they needed something, man. But they just didn't have the money to sign the guys.
Yep. Michael Porter Jr., I hope you're right.
He had a lot going on, though.
I hope you're retting, dog.
He had a lot going on, though. That was tough. His brother got fucking booted out the NBA. His other brother got arrested, and he's probably going to be going to prison for like 15 years or some shit. So,
and you're making $35 million and are not even close to being an all-star player. No, you're not even in all-star discussions. You're not remotely close. You scored 12 points in the fucking playoffs and shot like below 40% from the field. I feel like Michael Porter Jr., he's on notice.
You think so?
But this ain't
35's a lot.
This ain't a Nuggets podcast. I can go back and relitigate this entire NBA playoffs, but you know, that's what we have the whole summer to do. You want to talk about the Champions League final at all?
Yeah, we can talk about it, man, if you want. You disappointed? It was Madrid versus Dortmund.
I knew exactly what was going to happen. I said it to anyone who would listen to me before the game. I was like, Madrid is going to fucking just wait until the 80th minute, and then they're going to score 2 goals and put this shit beyond measure. They always do it in the last 10 minutes of the game.
Do you think that's like good? Is that the strategy that they always do, or like I don't understand how that kind of just happens? Like the second goal was complete, you know, Dortmund just kind of fucked up. They gave away a pass, but first goal was decent.
I think a lot of it has to do like Real Madrid, their system is all about like the interpretation of the players, like with each other. It's not like Barcelona, where it's like we play in this 3-2-5 structure, and there's always going to be a free man, and we're always hunting like this thing in the final third. They let Vinicius move around from the left to the middle. They let Bellingham push up from like that like number 10 spot to be another striker. They move Rodrigo around from one side of the pitch to the other. Toni Kroos will come back and join a back line and collect the ball and make a back five. Camavinga drift out from the wing into the center. You know what I mean? Like, it's always changing, and it's all about the relationships of the players on the field. And I feel like the gaps in the discipline of teams the discipline goes down and the gaps to play through get bigger in the last 10 minutes of a game. As the other team is like committing more resources to pushing forward and taking more risks and everything. And it seems like Real Madrid are just comfortable and wait for those moments. And they're like, oh, you're going to allow us to play 3-on-3 with a whole field behind us or a whole half field? Okay, we feel like we're going to win this. And a lot of times they do.
Yeah, it's just interesting to watch. I think it does start off with like their defense. And it's not this one specific team, but it does seem like the post-Ronaldo era of Madrid, they've kind of won in the same way, where it's like when you watch, you don't think they're the best team in the world, like even though they end up winning all the games. But the organization of the defense, and they got the best goalie in my eyes in the world. That's another thing. But
in Courtois,
he's one of the best in the fucking. He's really fucking good.
I mean, he was hurt the whole year. This is like one of the first games he played.
I'm just saying, like, he
was great in the Champions League final.
Yeah, I'm not just saying just this run. I was saying just in all the whole like post Ronaldo era. But like, and like they just don't get a lot of chances, but they just don't screw up the chances. They don't make light of them. Like when they get a chance, they usually score. You know, I saw it with City, 3 years ago when they played Manchester City and we lost to them? Yeah. I mean, this year we lost, but
and that was before adding Bellingham, who was like more goals in the last 10 minutes than anybody.
Yeah.
You know, you can ask any Barcelona fan. He scored 4 goals against us this season in the last 10 minutes of the game. Like,
yeah. And then like, because like the defense is just, it's whoever. Like Marcelo was the guy before, Mendy now, and then, you know, Carvajal's always been the right back. Nobody ever looks at him as like one of the best, but he fucking ended up scoring in the final. Nacho Vidal, like, I'm sure everyone on Madrid's like, when is he going to get the fuck out of here? But he's been the guy this year. Rudiger, get him on a fucking free transfer. And whoever's in the back, they just play well. Like, they've had different coaches. It's different players, different coaches, doesn't matter. La Liga, we can point to, you know, probably behind the, you know, the books type of cheat shit even with replay. It kind of seems the same. But with the Champions League, I mean, there's a few instances where it looks kind of crazy, but for the most part, I mean, just defensively, their shape is just insane. Like, I got to give my hats off to them, bro.
They're really disciplined. They're really dogged. And I think, like, they have this just internal confidence that, like, they're going to be ready for the moment when it comes up. And I think it comes from their coach. Like, Ancelotti, he's not a tinkerer. He's not like Pep, who's losing his mind on the sidelines. Like, he just gives off calm. And he's like, this is your game. The players are the ones who play it. And, like, y'all are going to be all right. You're the best players in the world. And he just kind of emanates this sense of, like, we know we're the best, and we're going to prove it. And the players, like, they respond to it in the big moments. If they have a half chance, for Real Madrid, that's a whole chance.
Yeah, it's insane, man. And even the second goal, like the Jude Bellingham pass, was literally like right beside the whoever that was, Matt Hummels or whoever the center back was for Dortmund. Like the pass was maybe a half a foot in front of him, and just because you know you're backpedaling in that certain situation, you can't really block it. So it's like inches, man. Every fucking game.
The thing is with Dortmund, it's like, dude, you cannot let a team like Real Madrid hang around. Like, you got to take the chances as they come to you. They had one of the most wide open breakaways I've ever seen in my entire life.
They had 2. Yeah, they had 2 chances to score for sure. And
I mean, Falkirk hit the post, and IDME or whatever?
Yeah.
He had a whole half field behind him. Like there was nobody even close, and he tries to dribble the goalkeeper, and then gets his shot blocked out for a corner kick.
And Fulker had a header where he was wide open,
like
on a cross, and it just header went straight to Courtois.
But it's like if you're playing against Madrid, you cannot afford to miss breakaways and play shit off the post and miss tap-ins. Like
they're exactly what you say every time. If you miss a chance on one end, they're going to punish you on the other.
They're like fucking vampires. Like you can't just shoot them with a gun. Like you got to put a stake in their heart, and you got to put garlic puree in their mouth. And you got to, like, if you have these chances in the first 30 minutes, you better be up 3-0. And as soon as they miss those breakaways and hit the post and, we're missing these easy chances, I was like, this is a wrap. This is an absolute wrap.
Tell Man City that a couple of years ago. We were up 3. We still fucking lost.
And that's the thing about Real Madrid. Like, if you don't put away those if you put away those chances early, you give yourself a shot to compete late.
Mm-hmm.
But if you don't put that early, like you don't even give yourself a shot, and they're just going to roll over you like they did.
Yeah, they got incredible luck. They do. There's nothing much we can say about it. And I used to like to watch them. Nowadays not so much. But with Mbappe coming in, I think I might start watching them again.
And that's the crazy thing. And now they're adding the best player in the world on a free transfer.
On a free, man. No rule breaking or nothing.
Like, look at the players they brought. It hurts me as a Barcelona fan to see them like properly manage their money and their squad. Like they don't let Cristiano Ronaldo leave for free. They're like, oh, he's on the tail end of his career. He's got like 2 prime years left. We're selling him for a fucking bag to Juve. Yeah. Oh, what do we do with that money? We bring in like players who actually fit in the system. We bring in Camavinga. We bring in Tchouaméni. You know what I mean? They gave like leeway to Vinicius, who was not a productive player when he first came to La Liga, and like let him grow into himself. And now they're in a position to bring in Mbappe for free. Yeah,
no, they allocated the funds correctly because they ended up getting Rodrigo, Vinicius. I don't think Jude Bellingham was through that, but like it's just
Jude. They wouldn't have had that money, if they didn't make the Cristiano Ronaldo sale and have the money to get the other guys. So it's like it's really been their one big outlay of money, and all the guys that they bought for big money are young and they're ascending to be world class players. Like the people who they bring in who are veterans, like are on frees. Rudiger was on a free. Alaba was on a free. Like their striker Joselu or whatever they got for like $4 million. Like all the veteran guys who contribute, they paid peanuts for. And so they're like, all right, we'll spend our money on young prospects who are going to be world class players. And they usually turn out to be.
Nah, and they're showing you, bro, like you don't have to have the best player in the world. I think this year they probably have like a conversation for it for sure. But you don't always have to have the best player in the world to win everything. No. You just got to be a fucking cohesive group that everybody wants to sacrifice for each other and just everybody plays their role. They're honestly, bro, they're like the fucking New England Patriots of this shit. Consistent as fuck for 10 years? Like how many do they got like 5 in the last 10 years?
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to look at it.
It's insane. It's absolutely insane.
Because they had 3, I think, when Ronaldo was there. They've had 5 since.
Makes me fucking sick.
It's tough, man. And honestly, for you, not to make it, because I know you're a Barcelona fan, and I think you were part of the fan club to like actually, do all that, actual voting and stuff like that for the squad. But you got to take advantage of your moment. Like I think City is taking advantage of totally marketing their team and doing everything. Allegations and all that aside, like they've taken their moment, and they're one of the top teams in the league. Like Barcelona. They should have taken advantage of their moment and try to like increase the club's value and get players to come to the squad. He squandered it, man, and Madrid is about to be on a run.
It's going to be a long climb up to where we were before, man.
No more luck because Xavi's out.
And the more
booted him out.
Oh my God! Don't even get me started on that shit, bro. Don't even fucking get me started. That we begged this guy to come back, and then we fire him 3 weeks after he come back because he says in a press conference, we got to be smart about the players that we buy this summer and stop trying to expect that we're going to get a superstar in here who's going to change something.
Yeah. Nah. Shout out to Madrid, man. All
Yeah.
a la Madrid, man.
Another
Nothing else we
year,
can say.
another Champions League, and
Bobby to Madrid is
Yeah.
crazy.
no sight of reprieve in the future.
Because we are, oh man, Man City is about to be fucked. We got one last season of legitimacy, and they might even strip everything away from us. You know, we've been prolonging this shit for a long time. But it looks like the penalties are about to come down on Man City after this coming year, man.
Y'all gonna be all right.
It is what it is.
You remember how they hit Chelsea with the fucking transfer ban and everything like that? You guys gonna be just fine.
Well, we got a better team. We're in a better position. But some of the dudes are old, though. Like,
Hey,
I
but
think
you know what Pep is going to do? The first summer that you can't buy him a $60 million defender, he's going to be like, all right.
he's gone already. He said next year is his last year.
Oh, did he? I didn't even see that.
So next year is his last year, supposedly. Supposedly, De Bruyne has been talking about leaving after next year. He might shockingly leave this year. They've been talking about that shit.
Why?
But those two have been the only ones, though. Nobody else has said anything about it. He's got no loyalty to the city because they fucking, like, the Premier League kind of dropped him early. And, you know, he believes in Pep. He said, Pep's leaving, I'm out. I'm like, fuck that shit. He's
Fair
gone.
enough.
I don't know why. But everybody else said they're chilling. Besides Bernardo Silva, but he's like 30 something. So
Yeah, he old.
I don't blame him.
Still a world-class guy.
Yeah, he's really good. I like the way he plays, but, you know, him playing 60 games a season, like, that's got a tough ask, especially in the Premier League and doing, like, FA Cup games and shit. The FA Cup lost another sick one to my stomach, but, you know, we won the league, which we're supposed to be excited about, which we've fucking done.
Well, we're going to have a fun
4
summer of
times.
international soccer. You know, we're going to have the
Euros,
Euros and the Copa
Copa.
America. Like, America,
Yeah.
the USA is in that shit for the first
You
time
going
in
to
a
Copa?
long time. Am I going?
They got the Charlotte game, semifinal.
Oh, do they? I didn't even know that.
They just got that one game. That's it. They just got that one.
If
No,
we
I don't think any of the group games are there.
Bro, if we make it, I'll go. I'll spend whatever. I'll go.
If USA
if we
is
make it
in
to the
Charlotte.
semifinal.
Because the two semifinal games, one's in Jersey, I think one's in Jersey. If
Yeah.
I'm not mistaken, one is in Jersey and the
I'm
other one's in
not
Charlotte.
spending my money to go watch Colombia play Chile in Charlotte.
Nah,
but
nah.
if USA
But-
is in that shit,
If it's Argentina versus Brazil, like if that ends
Yeah.
up being the semi,
that's facts. That's
but
facts.
like I gotta see, like, because when it first got announced, I was like, yeah, fuck it, I'll just go to the Charlotte game. Like, I don't care whoever's there. And then as it kept getting closer, I was like,
Eh,
I don't know. It depends who goes. Like,
Yeah.
I don't think I want to watch any other team besides like USA, Brazil, Argentina. And they had and I still probably won't watch Colombia, Argentina. Like, I love Messi, but I didn't even go to the Charlotte game when he was there. So I'm not, I ain't doing all that. I'll
Fair
watch
enough.
every game though.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited, man. We got NBA Finals starting on Thursday,
Yep.
8:30.
All
Terry, you got the Mavs in 5, or you got the Celtics in 5. I got the
Celtics
Mavs
in 5.
in 7. We will be back next week. Can you do next Tuesday? I got my summer camp starting up, but I can do it in the afternoon.
Yeah. This is housekeeping shit, but you're gone for Columbia the week after that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
All right. Yeah, no, of course.
So,
I can do Tuesday.
Hopefully the
Whenever you
NBA
want.
Finals will be wrapped up by the time I go to Columbia. That would be nice for me, so I don't have to watch on fucking Bogota TV.
On Fubo.com.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. But yeah, man.
All right, guys. Well, we'll be back next week. Thank you for liking. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for telling your friends. And yeah, let's go enjoy a wonderful NBA Finals.
Yeah, man. Until then, call it.
North Carolina, continue to stand up.